This is deck 1. I have 3 cards here, the Ace of Cups, the 8 of Wands and the 4 of Swords. What these cards tell me is that this is a true love, this is a strong love, an extremely deep love, an overflowing love, and it's gathering momentum. The love affair is on the move at the moment, but the challenge with this relationship is that you're in meditation and rest at the moment. You are taking a break. You are taking a break from your emotions because you must have gone through a struggle in the past or just recently, because it shows that you've been through a battle, but you've decided to put your swords up and you're now meditating. You must be really getting back to your spirituality. That's what it shows. And just centering yourself and focusing basically on the heavens. And that's going to be the challenge in your relationship, because even though you acknowledge that this is a significant love affair and that this person you're interested in is going to show you their love in some capacity, you're also feeling a little bit lazy about accepting any love offers. But that communication is on its way about your love affair, because he feels the love for you very deeply. It's the most important thing in his life at the moment. But the funny thing is that it's standing there on its own, your love, and he's not reaching out his hand with the cup that he has. So what I think he's decided to do is just communicate with you at the present time about his deep love for you, because that cup is overflowing. But he's not handing it to you at the present time. He's got to communicate with you about it. So that tells me that you have some understanding of his emotions, but he just hasn't expressed them yet. But what it's saying in these cards is that communication is on its way about his deep and overflowing love for you. The challenge is that you need your rest at the moment. I think you would really appreciate being in a love affair, but by the same token, you are going through something. You have become almost statuesque in your desire to get that peace in your life. So even though you acknowledge that love might be around the corner, you're actually not in a position to take it on board just yet. And he's in the same position, because I can see with that communication, it's going to be blocked by the bronze that you've gilded yourself in, to use that term as an analogy. So you are really quite stiff about having those discussions about your love life at the moment. And the reason you're quite stiff is because you've just been through turmoil and you are trying to get your peace and your rest. But the funny thing is, it shows that he has been in this love affair on his own. So you know he's been carrying his love for you for a while, because that love and that passion has filled a large cup that he's now overflowing. And it's showing he's reaching out to you and he's walking towards you because he's very passionate about you. That's what it shows. You know, he's reaching out for his sword of communication and he wants to express himself now. He really wants to tell you how he feels. So I can see from these cards that this was a past love and it's only now just gathering momentum, because he can see that you are just looking out the window watching the world go by, but he's fighting fires all of the time. That's something that he does quite regularly. He just fights fires. So what that's showing me is that he has a lot going on in his day-to-day life, but that you have a simpler life than him. And all he wants to do now is to look after your love and rescue you from your struggles. He wants to take that water that he has in his cup and he wants to dampen the fire. So he must understand that you have had struggles, that you have been through a battle, because he wants to take all of that love and those emotions and he wants to dampen the fire. He doesn't want to dampen the flame of love. He wants to dampen your struggles. And it shows that he is in a hot place at the moment. So he must live in a place that's cooler, because it shows that he's feeling that warmth. And on an intrinsic level, that means his heart has been on fire and it's about to cool down. And that doesn't mean, that's not a bad thing, but it means that his love is going to find more balance, because he will be expressing himself to you in some way, whether he shows that love, whether he tells you about it, whether he's been in the background and he comes forward just to show himself to you, anything like that. That will bring him a lot of relief, because he must be very passionate about you. That's what these cards are saying. However, on the other side of the coin, these cards also show that he's protective of his love for you, and he's protective of that cup he has in his hand, to the point that he will fight you or anybody else with 8 sticks to protect that cup. So it's possible he could be standoffish with you as well, and with anybody else that approaches him about his love for you. So that's something to be aware of. But otherwise, I think you might see progress with this love affair in the near future. This is deck 2. I have the 10 of Cups, the 8 of Swords, and the King of Wands. What this tells me is that your person is trying to get out of a difficult situation at the moment. He has the devil dancing around him, and he's blinded to the risk that he's under. He's been entrapped by this person, and he's trying to turn around and face you with a clear vision, but his eyes are covered. So it tells me that he's under some kind of threat in respect of your relationship, because you are his love. I can see here that you are a lady that considers her love affairs carefully, because you are standing here in this depiction looking at the cup before you, and you are facing this man, but you must have the same feelings for one another. But he's been entrapped by this tiny devil, and I don't know who this person is, but he must get in your person's ear, because that's the impression I'm getting. He's feeling entrapped by whatever this person says about you. So this devil character is not a very nice person, obviously. He must be smaller in stature, and he really doesn't have good intentions. But he's a powerful man, because he shows up as the King of Wands. So he's a very driven individual and has some kind of authority about him, but he is a smaller man. And it also shows that your person is very dynamic and has a very fiery spirit about him, so there must be a very energetic feel about the person that you are interested in. But this devil character shows up in this card as an elf, so that relates back to him being quite mischievous. And he's really got your man entrapped by his own limitations or his own mind. So he must have his doubts. Your person must have his doubts about your love relationship, or he must have fears. And this devil character is making things more difficult. He's putting ideas in your person's head, and it's just causing further mental entrapment because it plays on his fears. Whereas I can see you here at the top with all of your cups upright. I mean, it doesn't show the other person in this card, so that indicates to me that you are not together. If you chose this deck, you are not together. That's what I would automatically assume. But if you chose this deck and there's some kind of contact between you, you had a relationship in the past. That's what it shows. You are extremely independent. You're self-confident, and you're proud of the relationships that you have developed. And you could be anywhere in the world and just stand proud. So that indicates to me someone that is very secure within themselves in terms of their relationships. So it doesn't matter what sort of relationship it is. It could be a love relationship, it could be a friendship. You just feel very secure within yourself. So you do love this person back, but he's entrapped himself. And this devil character isn't helping. And whoever this devil character is, he's giving me a sly smile. And I can see here this devil character sleeps around with women and or men, and he's got sex on the mind. So I don't know what it is he plants in your person's head, but it's enough to keep him entrapped. But of course, if we look further into it, you are his ideal person. You are his true love. But also it shows that you are a person who is also entrapped by her thoughts on the matter. Even though you look upon these cups very proudly, you are both blinded to what could be. And the person that challenges you both is an older man. He's a person with authority. As I said before, he's a very strong person and he's kind of looking at you very discerningly. So maybe it's something that he envies because he is trying to stop this relationship. And I think it's a mirror effect. He is trying to prevent the inevitable by planting negative suggestions in your man's head. And by the same token, you feel entrapped because you're not getting any communication from your person. That would be the thing that's problematic at the person within this setup. Whatever you have going, you both want the same thing. You both want the 10 of Cups. You both want to be happy. You both want to love one another. You want to settle in together. And you want to have the ultimate relationship with one another. But you're both entrapped by your own thoughts on the matter. It's kind of an unbelievable situation because there is a lot of love between you, but there is something interfering, and the reason he's interfering is because he is jealous. I think he has sexual fantasies about you, quite possibly, and for your person to look upon you in an emotionally developed way is too much for this devil character, so he interferes. First of all, he's after you in a sexual way, or he looks upon you in a sexual way. Maybe you don't know about this friend, or maybe you don't know about this friend's habits, but that's how he looks upon you. Second of all, he wants authority over the situation. And third of all, he's very judgmental about this decision you've both taken separately to develop something emotionally stable with one another. So I don't know how he fits into your situation. He is the person holding you both back from chasing after your dreams. So it shows a real equality in terms of your love. You both love one another equally. You are both holding one another's hands. You have the same personality, but you're both uncertain. It's like all these fears rise up in you and that becomes your focus. But this man is jealous. I don't quite understand where he's coming from except for the sexual component, because he's not interested in both of you as individuals. He might have trouble with his eyesight, that's a possibility, and there's a darkness to him because he has a black heart. That's what his problem is. He is pessimistic. He has a black heart, or there's one side to him that is dark and another side that is light. But I can see how your person is reaching out for support all of the time, but this devil character is not concerned about your man. That's the thing. So he must play around him. He must pull his strings quite a bit. He looks upon this situation very discerningly. This devil character, this more energetic older man, but he's not concerned about what your friend is doing, even though he needs genuine support in trying to move this relationship forward. And he needs support from whoever he can get it from, but he's not getting that support. He's a funny one because he's looking at this situation very suspiciously, but he doesn't want to turn around and help your man out of the situation he's in. So to me, that indicates that he is driven by jealousy, but a petty jealousy. And I can see the person you are interested in is often at church, because that's what he thinks about in the back of his mind. And I think we've seen this many times. All of the cups are upright and they're full of emotion. So he is genuine about you, but he's got a headache. It's too much for him to think about. It's far too much for him. So it shows you're having a bit of a battle of intellect, but it's too much for him, and he's trying to protect himself from it, because you must come on very strong, because he wants to try to hide himself away from whatever indifferences you're having on an intellectual level. You're almost two opposing forces, so you're in a duel about something. Besides all this nonsense going on, he doesn't want to hear about it from his mischievous friend. He doesn't want to face your love together, and this argument you've had is burdening him. So he just wants to protect himself from whatever is happening between you. But this friend of his is watching you very closely. He's almost observing the pair of you, but your person is just in some difficulty at the moment, and he's finding it hard to get himself out of it. But I think generally it just shows he does have these strong love feelings for you, but he's facing some difficulties in his life, and it's not helped by this observer, this King of Wands. So I think because you're also entrapped in your mind about this relationship, it's going to be difficult to move it forward if you are both stuck. You know, it just shows you're both stuck on one another love-wise, and second of all, you're both stuck in your own personal lives independently of one another. So you've got to get out of this rut. And once you get out of the rut, then things will start firing up, and there will be more energy in the situation. And that's how you will be able to progress your love affair. But at the moment, these thoughts that you are both having, that you're turning around in your head too much, it means that he's thinking exactly the same things as you are, but I'm getting the impression from these cards that you start to feel the love for one another, but then it becomes complicated. So you both have a fight in your minds. That's the impression I'm getting. So you'll be arguing with yourselves about why it is you can't be together, or you get annoyed about not being together and the reasons why you're not together, and then it turns into a bit of a battle of wills. That's the impression I'm getting. And if you're not like talking to one another or having these arguments face to face, then there's an impression of these arguments, like you feel that you're not in a good space with one another on an intellectual and mental level. So that's the impression I'm getting. So you really need to find a common ground, because it shows here that it's a negative cycle, because you're not progressing your relationship in the correct way. There's quite a bit of energy in it. There are common thoughts that you both have about this love relationship. There's a lot of love, but the admission isn't there. You are kind of standing there independently of one another, thinking about this love, but not communicating it to one another. And there's somebody in the background complicating it, that's for sure. But that's a side issue. The central issue is that you need to tell one another how you feel. That's what these cards show, because if you don't do that, you will stay in this stagnant state where you love one another deeply, but you don't do anything about it.